The rain was coming down hard in downtown Toronto when the mechanic wiped his hands on an old rag and looked up at the luxury car that had just rolled into his small, flickering garage. The vehicle didn't belong in this neighborhood. Its paint shone even under broken lights, and the engine hummed like something alive. The man behind the wheel didn't look around much. He simply stepped out, checked his watch, and said quietly, "It stopped on the highway. I need it fixed tonight." The mechanic nodded, though his back ached and his shop rent was overdue. He didn't know this man was a billionaire. He only knew the sound of a broken engine, and he knew how to fix things that others had given up on. As he worked, his hands moved with muscle memory and patience earned from years of struggle. The mechanic, Daniel, had come to Canada 15 years earlier with nothing but a toolbox and a promise to himself that his daughter would have a better life. That promise had been broken the night his wife left with their little girl after a fight about money and dreams that never came true. Since then, Daniel had repaired engines by day and repaired his heart by night, telling himself that maybe one day he would see his daughter again. Maybe she would forgive him. Maybe she would remember his face. The car fought him. Bolts were rusted, parts hidden, and the engine refused to cooperate. Hours passed, and the city grew quiet. The billionaire, whose name was Mark, watched from the corner, surprised by the care Daniel put into every movement. No rushing, no shortcuts, just steady work, like the man was fixing something sacred. When the engine finally came back to life, it was nearly midnight. Daniel stepped back, exhausted, grease on his face, pain in his shoulders, but relief in his eyes. He smiled, the kind of smile people wear when they've done something honest. That's when the shop door opened. A little girl ran inside, her small shoes splashing in puddles left by the rain. She was maybe 8 or 9, her hair tied loosely, her eyes searching the room like she already knew what she was looking for. Daniel looked up, confused, just as she saw him. Time seemed to freeze. The girl dropped her backpack and ran straight into his arms, wrapping them around his waist as tight as she could. "Dad," she cried, her voice shaking, "I found you." Daniel's world collapsed and rebuilt in the same second. His hands trembled as he held her, afraid she might disappear if he blinked. He knew that voice. He had heard it in his dreams for years. Tears ran down his face, mixing with oil and dirt, and he didn't care. He dropped to his knees, holding her close, whispering her name like a prayer he had forgotten how to say. Behind them, Mark stood frozen. Slowly, the truth settled in. This little girl was his daughter. The child he had been raising alone since adopting her 2 years earlier. He had searched for her father once, but the trail went cold. He never expected to find him like this, in a small garage, with broken lights and an honest man who had just fixed his car without knowing who he was. The silence was heavy. Then Mark stepped forward, his voice unsteady. "She never stopped talking about you," he said. "About how you fixed her bike, her toys, everything. She said her dad could fix anything." Daniel looked up, eyes full of confusion and fear. "I thought I lost her forever," he whispered. Mark shook his head. "You didn't lose her. Life just broke you apart. But maybe it brought you back together tonight for a reason." That night, no money changed hands. Instead, something far more valuable did. Mark offered Daniel a job, a real one, with a proper workshop and a future. But more than that, he offered him time. Time to be a father again. Time to heal what had been broken. Daniel didn't answer right away. He just looked at his daughter, who was still holding his hand, smiling like she had been waiting for this moment her whole life. As the rain finally stopped outside, the city lights reflected on the wet road, and Daniel realized something simple and powerful. Engines can be repaired, lives can be repaired, hearts, even after years of silence, can still find their way home. And sometimes, when you're fixing someone else's broken car, life is quietly fixing you too.